page if you like the content, if you like the videos. I've got another 580 odd videos on my channel, so please do, if you're a waxaholic and you enjoy these sort of videos, please do feel free to look through. We've also got some playlists of some people's favourite type of procedures, whether it's off the eardrum or ear infections or skin peels. So if you visit my YouTube channel in particular, you can click onto the playlist and see all of those. So we have a client here who attended with bilateral earwax in the left ear. This is the left ear that we're starting with. The wax was fully occluding, so it was completely blocking the ear canal. In the right ear, I would say it's semi-occluding, so half blocking the ear. The patient had been using olive oil drops prior to attending. So the drops did an okay job at softening the lateral part of the earwax. So the lateral part of the earwax is the wax that we can see right now, nearer to the eardrum. But the wax deeper in the ear canal wasn't penetrated and softened using the drops. The drops just couldn't get through the wax. So the patient also has a slightly narrow ear canal, and the ear canal is also a bit twisty. The wax has been there for a long time. You can tell by the colour, it's quite dark, so it's oxidized, and because the wax is quite hot, so it's soft right near it laterally, but further in it's a bit harder. It's very difficult to get a suction grip, and because this wax is impacted and the ear canal is a bit twisty, I'm trying to get a grip not on the lateral part of the earwax, because that will just kind of generally just suction off by itself. It still leaves this big plug. So if we can try and get a suction grip, a fulcrum almost, a bit deeper on the earwax, then we can try and prise it out, but it's very difficult. So you can see I'm just tugging away at this wax now. I've decided to just go back to the very lateral part, but you'll see as the procedure goes on that it was quite a challenge. So you can see there is a bit of a gap at the top of the ear canal, and the wax is extending all the way deep into the ear canal itself towards the eardrum. So the average ear canal length is around 3 centimeters. I think there's a bit of a difference between male and females. I think males are slightly longer than females, and obviously children's ear canals are a bit shorter, which provides different acoustical properties. So all of our ear canals have a natural resonance. If you think about it, if you have 5 or 6 bottles of water on a table, and each bottle is filled up with different amounts of water, and you blow over the top of each of the bottles, you'll get a different frequency, and we call that a resonance frequency, and that depends on the volume and the ear canal volume, or in the case of the bottle, how much water is in the bottle and how much is air filled. So children have a higher frequency resonance, and that's because the ear canal is narrower in depth and length, and the longer the ear canal, the more the natural resonance frequency is more of a lower frequency. So I'm still tugging away here. So it's one of those patient ones. I think I'm going to be using an ear hook a bit later on. With these, it's just a bit of patience. There's no quick way. With an ear hook, we just have to be very careful, because we need to get the earwax right in behind the wax, and there's not much of an opening. The only opening is at the top of the ear canal, but that's quite deep and it's on the bony part. So I'm just trying to bring this forward as much as I can, and I have got a suction grip there, and I'm just making very delicate little movements forwards because the wax is hard. We don't want to lose that suction grip. If I'm making quick, quite dramatic movements with the suction probe, we lose the grip. And the ear canal here, we're right at the entrance, you can see the hair there. It is quite a twisty entrance as well, so I'm trying to manipulate the wax, trying to bring it forwards. If I just extract it in a straight line, it's going to be hitting the entrance of the ear canal, the cartilage. So not only am I trying to bring it forwards, I'm trying to rotate this wax so we can get it towards the entrance, which allows us to remove it easier. And I don't know if you can see that just behind the ears there, the tip of that wax is, I'm trying to move it to the left almost, where the ear canal entrance is. I think in a moment I think, okay, let's try an ear hook, but you'll see with an ear hook it wasn't as straightforward as one would assume. So at times the ear hook, so that you can see that shot there, there's not much of a gap, so I'm going to have to try and manufacture a gap here. So this is where we have to be careful, because when we go really deep in the ear, we just don't want to be touching the bony part of the ear canal. So I've just prized into some of the wax near the entrance, done the lateral wax, and almost chiseling it, so I'm doing it in little pieces. So this wax, again, it's still quite near the entrance. I'm just going to dig into the wax, but it's a bit softer here, and it's just going to slice through, but at the same time we are getting a bit out. And it's not uncommon during an earwax removal procedure that we alternate between different instruments, and sometimes you guys might be wondering, well, why did I spend a few minutes with a suction probe? But when you're in the ear, you get that feeling that it is coming forward, so you kind of persevere. And it's almost like if I quit too soon, or if I just continued a couple more seconds, it would have come out. So it's not as easy just to judge by watching a video, thinking, well, you're using an ear hook now, it's coming out easier. So it is, sometimes you need to be doing the procedure yourself. You have a feel, it's a kinesthetic feel, you think, just a bit longer, if I persevere it will come out. And sometimes you're wrong, and you then just think, okay, let's go use a different procedure. So there's no written rule, there's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say. So just getting this tail off with the suction probe, and again here I'm just getting that feeling now that some of the wax has been removed. If I just wriggle it, and good thing sometimes when you've got a wax that's fully occluding the ear canal, I don't know whether you've seen some of my videos where I've managed to just extract the whole wax in one singular piece, which is great, and it's a bit more difficult to do with an ear hook because you're hooking into the wax, so you're cutting into it and you're bringing it forwards. If the wax is rock solid, which is, this is not rock solid, it is hard, it's a bit dry, but it's not rock solid, you'll just cut it off in little pieces, you're chiseling it out, and it's always a bit more satisfying and quicker if you just kind of trying to wriggle it out in one big piece, almost like a cigar shape. I had a recent video, called it an earwax sausage. It's exactly what I was doing. The wax is very similar in consistency to this patient's, and using a Zollner suction probe I was able to wriggle out in one big piece. And you can see this is where sometimes the issue occurs with an ear hook, it just starts slicing through the wax. Although the wax is not soft, it gives way a bit, the texture, so it's not rock solid. And there is quite a prominent bend in this ear canal, it's quite twisty, and you can see that bend just there, you can see the cartilage, and past that cartilage this ear canal rears off to the left, almost at a 45-degree angle. So I've got most of the lateral wax out. We're just now working with this big plug, which is a bit deeper in the ear. It's very dry, it's very coarse, so I can remember this patient, as I was bringing it forward, he could feel that friction. It was quite a rough end, and in the end I thought, well, let's just get an ear hook in there a bit deeper, but again I'm just going to slicing it, and there's just a gap there just at the top, but that's on the bony part, and I just have to be careful, and I've managed to get the ear hook in behind, and I'm just going to pull this out now. It wasn't possible to do that right at the beginning of the procedure because there was no opening there, and even that, it was something that I felt I had to do because it just wasn't really getting it any further with the Jobson horn. The Jobson horn would have been ideal because you're not risking touching the ear canal wall, but I just felt at that stage, well, there's a bit of a gap, let's with a steady hand just get that, because remember the ear hook's quite sharp, and when we're putting the ear hook deeper in the ear, when these patients are awake as well, no general anaesthetic, no local anaesthetic, and you want to avoid touching the bony part of the ear canal. But in the end, the ear hook was the best micro instrument for this ear. I'm just going to mop up now with the Zollner suction probe, so you don't need the ear hook anymore. There's a bit of wax there at the base of the ear canal and the anterior wall, so I'm just using a fine end now. We're just going to delicately peel as much of this off as we can. The patient's symptoms are alleviated now, so removing this wax isn't really necessarily going to significantly improve his symptoms, but he may feel this wax at the base of his ear canal because it is a bit slimy, so when he talks or chews and the ear canal moves, it can rub against that. So just a bit, now this is the bony part of the ear canal, so just be very careful. I'm just hovering over, just gently vacuuming. There's a bit of skin there as well. You can just see that skin which is just suctioned off. And the last thing we want to do is, again, we've cleared that, we've alleviated the patient with his symptoms, so we don't now want to cut his ear accidentally and cause bleeding or bruising, because it'll be a pointless exercise there doing that. So there is going to be a few remnants of dead skin wax, and we accept that as clinical ear care specialists. It's not our job to really. And a bit of wax, dead skin, it's healthy, it's natural, we all have it. So a bit of skin there that just kind of gently peeled off when I was hovering over the canal. There's the patient's eardrum, nice and healthy. I'm just going to mop up near the entrance. So the outer part of the ear canal is made up of cartilage, fatty tissue, so we're able to put a bit more pressure on that. It's not uncomfortable for the patient. You can see there, really putting a bit of pressure and vacuuming a bit of wax on the tip, which I vacuumed off. Yeah, so this video kind of illustrates the dual purpose of suction and ear hook sometimes. Even if the suction probe is not removing and extracting the wax completely, it can bring it forwards enough where it creates even the smallest of openings where we can then use other instruments to get in behind. So just over to the right side of this wax, the outer part's a bit mushier. You can see there's a bit of dead skin there, so we're just going to peel this off. But the more medial wax was similar to the patient's left ear. So once I've removed this, I think I'm just going to go in with an ear hook. There's a bit, as I said, this is more, I don't think it was fully occluding, I think it was semi-occluding or 3/4 occluding. So there's more openings for me to insert other instruments in the ear. You can see there, so it's just at the base of the ear canal, a bit of skin there as well near the entrance. I'm just going to lift this. It's a bit more crustier. The ear canal here is a bit straighter. I don't know if you've noticed the anatomical difference between this ear and the first ear. The left ear was quite twisty. Halfway into the ear canal veered off to the left. It's almost like a 45-degree angle. Here it's a bit more straighter, so it's a bit more accessibility with the instruments. Here we are, that's quite deep in the ear, it's about 2 centimetres into the ear canal, but managed to get into that little opening there. Prior to the earwax, I came out a big chunk, and I've brought the rest of the wax forward. So we're on the cartilage portion now, so I'm not too concerned if I glide the ear hook in between the wax and the ear canals. It's not going to be uncomfortable. See the eardrum in the distance, just a bit of a big plug here, so let's remove this. So there's the old eardrum, and now I'm just going to go back in with a suction probe. I'm going to attach a fine end in a moment as well. Just going to vacuum some of this residual soft wax. As I said, the patient had been using drops. The drops can sometimes collect as a puddle deep in the ear. So just as a fine end, a bit of wax in the anterior recess, which is at the front part of the ear canal near the eardrum. It's a hidden cave there, hidden trench. Delicately got that off. Eardrum's nice and healthy. I'm just going to mop up it around the edge now. So yeah, bit of wax just at the annulus. So the annulus is the base of the eardrum. Bit of dead skin there on the eardrum as well, so just gently vacuum that off as well. And you can just see how great the view is with the endoscope, the eye clear scope. Near the eardrum, you can see exactly what we're doing. Again, the procedure's done, but I'm just mopping up near the entrance, bit of wax here. So in a minute you'll see a still image of all the remnants, all the wax that we extracted. It looks a lot worse on the tissue actually, you'll see it in a moment. Didn't realise whilst I was performing the procedure that I was removing this much wax, but it all becomes evident in a moment. There we are, that's all the contents of both ears. So it's a combination of an ear hook and on a suction probe. They helped at different stages of the procedure. Perhaps in the first ear, the left ear, should have possibly used the ear hook a bit earlier on. As I said, when we did the right ear, kind of because it was a similar consistency of wax, decided to go in a bit earlier. I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Stay tuned. I'll try and upload a couple more before I leave the